Did you know about 80% of our prisoners upon the release will be rearrested again in the future? It is an extremely high number. That is more than half of them. You might ask yourself why that is and what is going on. According to the 2019 article titled The American Criminal Justice System by the Charles Koch Institute, more than 80% of those leaving our state prisons will be rearrested again in the future. Living in Los Angeles, living in poverty, and being a part of the minority group and not having the best education has made it all too common to hear that someone has a family member in prison. I myself have a brother in prison, and I also know many other people who have also have family in prison or that have been incarcerated themselves. Today, my goal is to inform you about prison reform. First, I will discuss about the number of people in prison. I will discuss about what is wrong with our prison system, and lastly, what is prison reform and what it would look like. The first topic I will discuss is the number of people incarcerated. The United States contains 5% of the world's population. 1 in 4 people will be rearrested upon the release. Why is it that people land in jail after knowing in firsthand what the consequences of certain decisions has caused? It is hard for ex-convicts to get a job, which lands them committing the same crime or another crime, which will land them in jail. There's not enough resources for all the prisoners upon the release. They are thrown out with all that they have and they are arrested with. So if they came in with nothing, they will leave with nothing. Some people do not have financial and family support to motivate them and want to do better for themselves. 2.3 million people, men and women and juveniles, are currently incarcerated. And according to the 2020 article titled Mass Incarceration, the Whole Pie 2020 by the Wagner and colleague of the Prison Policy Initiative, there are currently 1,833 state prisons, 110 federal prisons, 1,772 juvenile correctional facilities, 3,134 local jails, 218 immigration detention facilities, and 80 Indian country jails, as well as military prisons. All these facilities being available for prisoners is just the problem, building up to the problem, making it available for us to send people to prison. The U.S. has the highest rate of prisoners in the world. Many people have a member of their immediate family that has been incarcerated before. Disproportionately large number of people of color. Labeling races, cultures, and ethnic groups has been a big factor into the disproportionate of the number of people of color that are in prison right now. Labeling a black person, African American person, and a Hispanic person as being criminals, it also makes it easier for that child or that person to think that they're a criminal and act as a criminal because that is what they're told they are. People in lower classes are more likely to be incarcerated for the same reason. According to the 20 article labeled Criminal Justice Reform by the Equal Justice Initiative, nearly 10 million people have an immediate family member incarcerated. Providing second chances, that's one thing that this country is so harsh at doing. Society is so harsh at the way that they perceive people in prison. Society has labeled any person as a bad person who has committed crimes. Some people are just misunderstood and need help. The second topic I will talk about is what is the problem with our prison system today? Some problems are the extreme sentencing, the long-term sentencing for drug-related crimes. The sentence does not meet the crime. Usually I've heard many circumstances where drug dealers get longer sentences than rapists. For many people can debate that that's very unfair. Inhumane conditions, living conditions in prisons are not the best. Prisons are overcrowded and they had to turn gyms into dorms. Not being able to get the health care that they need. They are not able, if they come in with certain diseases or illnesses, sometimes they are not treated for them. Should we talk about how many people get assaulted by guards and prisoners? Prisons are controlled by gangs. Prisons are divided by races, counties, proper paperwork. Prisoners are told by their gang leaders what to do, when to do it. They are told when to program. Prisoners become soldiers and have little to no choice on what they do in the inside. And if someone were to not follow the rules of the main leader has put in place for their dorm, they retaliate and may even be assaulted. If inmates do not have family members to send them or buy them packets for hygiene and snacks, then they are stuck with the county food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the cheap hygiene. And if they run out, then they are stuck until they become available to them again. I have never heard a good experience from anyone that I have met or watched videos of tell their story about their experience in prison. I have The only thing I have heard was that it motivates them to do better or it traumatizes them. Nothing. Now that I have talked about what is wrong with our prison system, I will not talk about what is prison reform and what it would look like. Prison reform is the effort to better improve our prison conditions in the criminal justice system all around. Works on the safe reentry to society for those incarcerated upon the release. It helps on the journey to reintegration. Prisons programs to help inmates with crucial skills, education, and character development. They will need to strive upon their success and their release from prison. Rehabilitate and works to lower the chances of incarcerated individuals from becoming repeat offenders and returning to prison by providing gift cards and helping them find a place to live and jobs upon their release. Make sure that people who are incarcerated are not having their human rights taken from them, and in some cases it's helped grant clemency to a few prisoners. By doing so, we will see fewer repeat offenders. Overall, there needs to be more prison reform bills passed in order to see a drastic change. My goal in this speech was to inform you all as much as possible about prison reform. I have discussed first about the number of people in prison, second, what is wrong with our prison system, and lastly, what is prison reform and what it would look like. Now that you are told about the prison population, we can now look at the bigger problem in this country. Then the next time we meet as an ex-convict, we can now see them as a person and not as a crime they committed.